What is going on, guys? Jason Burke here, Styles Clash for Life, coming at you on YouTube, and today I've got some football focus. The Pittsburgh Steelers just finished their Week 10 matchup with the New Orleans Saints at home in Week 10 of the 2022 NFL season, and Pittsburgh, coming off their bye, really needed to get a win. Their schedule is getting a little bit softer coming up, and TJ Watt has returned. I've been saying all season long there is no bigger difference maker in the NFL on one side of the ball than TJ Watt. What a game breaker that guy is. He makes everyone around him better, and this game was evident. The Saints came in here with a lot of injuries as well. 2 corners, a D-end, 2 offensive linemen, 2 starting linemen came in injured, not playing. So the Saints are a team on the down end of their run. Andy Dalton playing quarterback has not been very inspiring for them. Kamara's been hit or miss. Wide receiver injuries. So a not great Saints team coming in very injured against a refreshing Steelers team coming off their bye, getting TJ Watt and DeMonte KZ back, which will come into play here in a few seconds. Pittsburgh goes up and gets the 20-10 win. We get out to a nice 10-0 lead. 2 really nice scoring drives back-to-back on the, I think, second and third drive of the game, or first and second. 2 of the first couple drives of the game, Pittsburgh marches down on some nice drives and scores and gets up 10-0, and it feels like it's going to be an easy day. And then a couple of miscues. The defense lets up a little bit. Robert Spillane in coverage of the Saints tight end goes down there. Johnson goes down there, gets a touchdown. All of a sudden, we go into the halftime tied 10-10, and it's a brand new game, and you start feeling deflated. You start feeling like we're going to lose a lead and lose to a bad Saints team. Come out in the second half with a 10-0 run, and the Saints never score again. Pittsburgh controlled the clock today. This was like an old-school Jerome Bettis Pittsburgh Steelers kind of game. You're seeing Pickett running selectively. You're seeing a lot of Najee Harris running. You're seeing Jaylen Warren. You're seeing a lot of really hard runs, a lot of short yardage conversions, a lot of time in possession. Pittsburgh really making splash plays in the run game. You know, with a rocky offensive line and a rookie quarterback and an offensive coordinator who we don't love here in Pittsburgh, you want to control the clock and make things easier on your rookie by establishing the running game and getting yourself into second and third and short. And that's what we did today. For the first time this season, really, we looked like a team that had control and kind of made some smartly conservative play calls. For the most part, there were still a couple of dumb ones, but this was one of the smarter called games for the Steelers. But I have a couple of controversial things coming up. So let's go over the stats on offense, and then I'll tell you guys what I thought of this 20-10 victory. Kenny Pickett's stats, he was 18 of 30 for 199 yards passing. Also 8 carries, 51 yards, and a touchdown. So he was this was the best on his feet version of Kenny Pickett that we've seen so far, including a short quarterback sneak for a touchdown to go up 20-10 and ice the game. Najee Harris, one of his best games, probably the best game of the season, I believe, for Najee Harris. 20 carries, 99 yards. Did have a fumble, though, as well, and we'll get into that. Jaylen Warren, 9 carries for 37 yards, plus 3 catches for 40 yards. George Pickens, 3 catches for 32 yards, plus 2 carries for 23 yards and a touchdown on a little jet sweep inside to Pickens, where he took the ball about from 2 yards out and kind of ducked in to get into the end zone. And Deontay Johnson led the way receiving, 4 catches for 63 yards. So those are your stats. And again, it's going to sound like I'm praising the team entirely here, but I have a bit of a controversial take. I don't love what I saw from Kenny Pickett today. Again, his numbers, conservatively 18 of 30 for 199. Those numbers don't sound bad. 8 carries, 51 yards, and a touchdown sounds really good. And again, there were moments that when he was in the pocket, he was looking composed. I gave him a lot of credit because his accuracy was not great today by any means. He was not very accurate. A couple of guys went up and made some nice plays. Pickens made a few really nice tight catches where he was covered very tightly but still held onto the ball on the outside. He's very good at that. He's one of the best uncovered receivers in the NFL, where he's one-on-one, he's very well covered, and he finds a way to get himself uncovered because he has a strong body and good hands to make one-on-one plays by himself. And Pat Freiermuth made a beautiful one-handed catch across the middle of the field. He was going up in the end zone, skying for some balls that he almost caught that really were uncatchable. Pickett was not accurate today. But the credit that I gave him early on in the game was he stood inside the pocket and he looked composed. He wasn't finding his guys. He was overshooting them or throwing it, behind them or whatever. But at least he was looking like he wasn't jittery. He was looking calm. His feet were looking calm and still in the pocket. And then as the game devolved, he looked less calm in the pocket, but he was better on his feet. So he was running, he was getting to the outside, he was making runs, he was turning possible sack plays into 3 and 4 yard gains, which help you later on in the downs. But I didn't like the way Pickett was playing this game. He looked, especially after the first couple of drives, and he wasn't getting anything done. He looked pretty scared out there in the second through most of the fourth quarter. Again, did have 4 scoring drives, 2 touchdowns, and 2 field goals. So 20 points against the Saints. Again, the Saints aren't one of the better teams in the league. They are average on defense. They're not terrible on defense. They're average, but not always inspiring play. I feel like Pickett was looking to run first. He kind of looked like a bit of a less athletic Justin Fields out there, where he would go back, he would look briefly for one read, and then if he didn't find his one read open, he would just take off and run. And yeah, he's athletic, and yeah, he made some good plays on his feet today, but you don't want to see your quarterback looking run first. And again, I don't know now if this was the wide receivers not getting open. They didn't show us a lot of the downfield progressions on those plays. So I don't know if it was Deontay and Pickens and Boykin and Freiermuth and those guys not getting open. But a lot of those guys, again, Deontay runs great routes, and Pickens and Freiermuth are very good physical middle of the field, and Pickens on the outside, Pat in the middle, very good at being physical and going up to get the ball. So even if your guys are covered, they're not really covered because they always find a way to make tough catches. And I don't know if it's partially on the receivers, but the offensive line, for the most part, in pass blocking today, pass blocked pretty well. There were some times that Pickett had to run for his life. But after evading the first tackler, he had some time, and especially inside the pocket, we saw some plays that he was standing in there, having time to throw. I'm not going to blame the line for this. I gave them a middle of the range game today, more positive than negative, because not only were they not getting Pickett killed and not getting him sacked a lot, they gave him time to throw, they weren't getting any balls batted, and they weren't committing a lot of penalties. I don't think they had any penalties on the offensive line today. Yeah, he was having to run for his life a couple of times, but for the most part, this is one of the better offensive line games we've had this season. So to me, it looked like Pickett just wasn't finding anybody open and just resorting to the run. He was looking like he was looking run first for the most part. On the plays that he had more time, he wasn't finding anybody and then just reverting back to his feet. And the throws that he did make were pretty inaccurate for the most part. So although Pickett's numbers look good and the running is encouraging for the plays he was making on those kind of broken plays, he wasn't looking like a passing quarterback that can read defenses. Again, there's times that he was inconsistent with moving around too much inside, outside the pocket. Good for him for being athletic and breaking out of sacks and turning, 0 yardage plays into +3 and 4 yard plays. But I'm not liking what I'm seeing as far as him reading progressions, going to other options, and trying to throw the ball down the field. He looks a little bit tentative, and when he does make the throw, he looks inaccurate. So I'm not loving some of those decisions. There was one time that he threw the ball outside. Deontay had a step on the guy and just overthrew him. Another time he threw the ball down the field, but it was out of bounds on a one-on-one play where a guy could have made a play. He threw another one down the field into triple coverage where Freiermuth had 3 guys on him, a linebacker, a corner, and a safety. And Freiermuth had no chance to catch it. 1 or 2 more times, Freiermuth did get open on fades, and he just overthrew him completely and didn't give his tall, physical tight end a shot to catch the ball. So there are some issues I have with Kenny Pickett. But again, he managed the game. He didn't have any turnovers on his end, and they won. So I can't complain too much for a rookie quarterback with a shaky offensive line. But the line played, for the most part, one of their better games today. Not just pass blocking, but run blocking. And I want to give Najee Harris some credit. I've been hard on Najee Harris on this channel the last couple of weeks. I talked in the last 2 videos about how Najee looks scared. He's not putting his foot in the ground and running forward. The commentators made a point to notice it today, and I did too, that Najee was running hard. He was finding a hole, making one cut and going, putting his foot down and just running forward, and finishing his runs by running through tacklers and extending the ball for extra yardage. 20 carries for 99 yards here for Najee today. Just 1 yard short of the 100. I wish he would have gotten one more carry. 1 yard short of the 100. Did have a fumble, though. He was trying to hold up the ball too much and fumbled. That could have been costly. It was recovered by the Steelers, so it wasn't a lost fumble, but it could have been costly. You got to watch that. Aside from that play, though, I like what Najee was doing today. He had one nice 30-plus yard run. I think it was a 35-yarder where he made a nice cut, took the B gap and ran down the field, ran through a tackler that tried to tackle him around the waist and got an extra 15 yards out on it. Several other plays that went for 5 or 6 yards. Najee didn't go down. He ran hard. He ran past the whistle. He wasn't tackled. That's the kind of stuff you like to see. Find one hole, go straight forward as hard as you can, get your 3 and 4 yards out of it, and run through and finish the play hard. That's what he was good at Alabama. That's what we saw him do last year. That's what he has not been doing this year. Now, granted, the Saints are, I think, 19th in the league in rushing defense, so they're one of the almost bottom third. They're below average in rush defense, but you still got to make it happen. So, wasn't the best opponent to be impressed by, us getting a lot of rushing yards. But the commentators noted that we had not had a 20-yard rush all season long, a 20-plus yard running play. We had 4 in this game, 1 from Pickett, 1 from Jalen Warren, and 2 from Najee Harris, I think. So really overall impressed with that. Again, Najee breaking tackles, Najee turning what seems like nothing into a 5 or 6 yard run. That makes the playbook opened up and look better. It makes Kenny Pickett have an easier time. It gives us the option to do more screen stuff. I like getting ahead of the chains on second down and short. And again, no penalties for the offensive line, which helps the offense move down the field in the right direction. So that's a positive. Jalen Warren, I like this kid a lot. Man, I've been singing his praises since preseason. Big Jalen Warren fan. Again, 9 for 37 rushing, 3 for 40 catching. He's breaking tackles. He had several plays at the end of this game where he was keeping the ball in our hands on third downs. He was converting those short yardage plays. He hurdled a guy and ran down the sidelines to end the game for a nice 20-yard play to end the game. Jalen Warren just stocky back. He's quick with his feet. He's a good cutter. He's a good pass catcher. Several times Pickett found him on the outside. He's just really consistent. I like him. He's got a good mentality. He's got the short burst. He's quick. He's strong. He finishes runs. And he's a nice change of pace guy for Najee. These guys can really make our team that run-first kind of team. You got a triple threat now. You got Pickett, Najee, and Warren together. Receiving, Freiermuth made some nice plays. I still don't think he was targeted enough, and sometimes Pickett did force the ball his direction. Deontay leading the way, 4 for 63. I like what Deontay did today, although I wish he had gotten some more opportunities. But overall, you got to be proud of the 20 points, even though New Orleans is not the best defense in the world. Defensively for us, we didn't have Minkah Fitzpatrick, which again, it's like we finally get TJ back and then Minkah's hurt. So you're like, okay, one all-star for another. But we got Damontae KZ back. Damontae KZ is a guy that 3 or 4 years ago led the NFL in interceptions for Dallas. He played very well for Atlanta for several years, led the NFL in picks for Dallas about 4 years ago, and finally was playing his first game today. If he wasn't activated off the IR this week, he was going to have to miss the entire season. Thank God he's back. What a physical veteran presence, him returning in place of Minkah Fitzpatrick. And Tomlin said he wanted to run some 3 safety sets when they all get healthy. So you have Edmonds, who played well today. You have KZ and you have Minkah. You can run some 3 safety sets out there, and that'll be exciting. Highsmith had 2 sacks and a forced fumble in this game. Again, Highsmith has been quiet without TJ, but when TJ's in there, not only is TJ Watt a force by himself getting off the edge and pressuring the quarterback, but he makes everyone else better. You saw Cam Hayward do a lot of stuff today on the line. You saw Highsmith have a big game today because they have to go one-on-one with him because TJ commands all the attention. You saw Larry Ogunjobi make some plays today. You saw Montravius Adams make some plays today. Everyone on the line, everyone in the front 7 looks better when TJ Watt is out there. I don't have any stats on Watt today. He didn't make any splash plays, but he had 3 or 4 tackles on running backs. He had 3 or 4 nice pressures, and he got Highsmith covered one-on-one. So Highsmith gets 2 sacks and a forced fumble in this game, which again just helps exponentially. TJ Watt, what a game breaker. Damontae KZ gets the interception. Terrell Edmonds, Edmonds got the tip, and Wallace got a deflection later on. But Damontae KZ gets an interception, and Levi Wallace gets a pick. Levi Wallace is a little inconsistent. He's not perfect. He does get beat more than any other starting corner. Well, I guess Akilla Weatherspoon wasn't playing today, but he does get beat here and there for some short plays, but he's a technique guy. He's not going to get beat, burned deep and stuff like that. He had a nice knockdown play in this game. He had a couple nice tackles coming up from the corner spot, and he had a nice interception that he played on a deep ball one-on-one, very physically on the outside, went up and took the ball away from one of the Saints guys. So really good to see that. Robert Spillane, I gave a +/-2. He had 5 tackles today, and he is exactly what Spillane always is. When he's playing the running backs and he's going after the quarterback, when he's blitzing and he's in the trenches for tackles, he's very, very good. He's physical. He's a good tackler. He's one of the better form tacklers we have. He's a strong guy who gets good hits. He has very good instincts in the backfield. When he's playing the quarterback or the running back, he's very, very good. When he was out there in coverage today, that's the Saints' touchdown drive. Toward the end of the first half, when they went down with Johnson, the tight end, he got 3 consecutive catches on on Spillane, back to back to back on the outside, the zig routes and then the tight end outs. 3 consecutive times Spillane got beat in pass catching. So once again, Spillane, great tackler, great physical guy, but when it comes to pass coverage, he's really, really weak. Devin Bush, not much of anything positive or negative to say about him in this game. Again, KZ did get a penalty on a Chris Olave sideline catch. He was trying to jar the ball free, which he did. Olave caught the ball on the sidelines and he hit him, but it was a helmet-to-helmet, so he was penalized. But I like Wallace being back healthy in the starting lineup. He's a plus-minus guy. He's going to lose some plays and win some plays, but he had a good overall game today, and so did KZ. And then special teams-wise, Matthew Wright came in because Chris Boswell is going to be missing several games now. Matthew Wright came in 2 for 4. He hit 2 short field goals, but he missed a 48-yarder that was shanked really badly. He kicked this ball into my kitchen. He kicked the ball right here. He missed that by about 78,000 yards. And then he also missed like a 34-yarder, which brings me to something Pittsburgh has to get better at is finishing off their red zone stuff. We did score 2 red zone touchdowns today, one from Kenny Pickett's rush and one from the George Pickens end-around rush. But we also had to settle for 2 field goals. One was made, 2 field goals were made, and one was missed. So 3 times we got ourselves down into inside the 20-yard line, 10-yard line, and did not convert for touchdowns. So Pittsburgh has to get better at converting, and the rushing game getting better is going to help that. So if the offensive line can keep giving Pickett a pocket, I like that. If they keep giving Pickett a pocket and gives him a chance to look downfield, it's going to be on Kenny to find our wide receivers. So again, I'm not entirely content. I like our defense. I still want to get Minka back out there and get some 3 safety sets going. But with TJ Watt out there, the defense looks really, really good. Just 1 touchdown drive the whole game, 10 total points, nothing in the second half, no big splash plays all game long. A few short things here and there to Landry and Olave, but they held Alvin Kamara to like 3 yards a carry. Didn't get much from him. So Pittsburgh overall plays very good defense. Kenny Pickett makes no turnovers, uses his feet. Pittsburgh uses their rushing offense to win the game. So Pittsburgh goes now to 3-6, and we have one of our harder games of our schedule left next week, playing at home against Cincinnati. The Bengals have been kind of on a roll. We beat them earlier in the season in their place, but they're a much better team now than they were before. But their offensive line is still one of their bigger problems, and they've had an issue with Jamar Chase being hurt and their line being weak at times, and our defensive line, as long as TJ Watt's back out there, everyone's better. So Pittsburgh gets a nice win coming off the bye. We're getting a little healthier. We're starting to put some things together. We still got a lot of questions about Kenny Pickett, in my opinion, and what this run game can do consistently. So what did you guys think? Tell me in the comments below. Please like, share, and subscribe if you like these Pittsburgh Steelers deep dive videos. Let's talk in the comments about the guys you liked and didn't like, and I will see you guys next week. Go Steelers, and take care.